is Brendan Schaub a little bit like tapped? That's obviously a rhetorical question. But why does Brendan do this? There'll be times that Brendan will go like on a tirade against the UFC. The UFC is done. The UFC is out. The UFC is suffering. The UFC this. The UFC that. The UFC this. Like implying that Dana's not running it correctly. Kind of hinting without really hinting that if he was in charge, he would do this, he would do that differently, right? All of these things that he says. All of these things that he fucking says. All of these things that he fucking says. Then suddenly, out of fucking nowhere, he'll start glazing the UFC. Start glazing Dana White. Oh yeah, I agree with him. Yeah, I agree with him there. He should know now. Like, I reckon Dana's probably said some awful things about Brendan to Joe Rogan. So I think Brendan knows this. Because Dana and Rogan are really tight. There's no way in hell that Rogan hasn't tried to mend the relationship between Dana and Joe Rogan and Brendan. Rogan probably knows Dana well from their years of working together. And he knows that, you know, Dana's not the kind of person who forgives very easily. If you cross Dana White, you're dead to him. You know what I mean? So he's just left it. Brendan also must know that. So why does he always do this thing where he kind of tries to like suck up to Dana in the presence of Rogan, hoping Dana will see the clip and then think, yeah, Brendan's all right. It's gone too far now. You're never going to be friends again. He's never going to be cool with you. But then I also think maybe Brendan's not doing it to be cool with Dana. Maybe Brendan's doing it because he's afraid if he goes to a UFC fight card, he won't get let in. He's afraid he might be like soft banned. He might not be officially banned from the UFC like Sneeko is, right? There was that paper going around on social media that had a picture of Sneeko and said that he's banned from all UFC events. I don't think that Brendan's banned like that, but I do think if Brendan ever went to a UFC event, he's definitely going to post about it on social media. And if Dana White got wind that Brendan was at a UFC fight card, I have a feeling he'd definitely put a call in and get him escorted out. So I think that Brendan doesn't want to get embarrassed that way. He doesn't want to ever be, you know, he doesn't want Dana to have that moment. So he tries to like suck up to him, hoping that he sees it and that Dana forgives him and they, you know, go back to being like somewhat friends or whatever it may be. I don't think that's ever going to happen. So yeah, this is strange. Brendan agrees with Dana White on the UFC fight bonus criteria. I find this really strange what he's saying.
Talking shit, pointing at you.
He's fun, man.
So fun.
He's one of my faves.
So fun. How about at the end of the fight, when I'm interviewing him, he's like, come walk with me. And he takes me over to Dana. He's, yo, Dana.
Yeah, he wants that bonus. They've never given him a bonus.
He was just talking about how he's one of the most exciting fighters that's ever done it.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I'm like, everybody knows that. He's like, well, I didn't get my fucking bonus.
Yeah. But I'm kind of with Dana on the bonus. Dana goes, well, we do it also your strength of your opponent. Like
Zell Huber was good, dude. He beat Zell Huber in his last fight. Stopped him.
That was fight.
He should have got a bonus.
He should have got it for that one.
That's what he was talking about.
Well, but for this last fight,
right?
For his last fight,
big up Tim Okazi.
Money is there.
Big up Tim Okazi. Big up Tim Okazi in the stream chat.
Man,
so fun.
He's one of my faves.
So fun. How about at the end of the fight, when I'm interviewing him, he's like, come walk with me. And he takes me over to Dana. He's, yo, Dana.
Yeah, he wants that bonus. They've never given him a bonus.
He was just talking about how he's one of the most exciting fighters that's ever done it.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I'm like, everybody knows that. He's like, well, I didn't get my fucking bonus.
Yeah. But I'm kind of with Dana on the bonus.
Ew. I'm kind of with Dana on the bonus. Please tell him. Please tell him I'm kind of with Dana. Please tell Dana that I agree with him on the bonus thing. Of course you agree with him because you want him to fucking be your friend again. When he wasn't afraid of ruffling feathers and speaking truth to power, Brendan, to give him a little bit of credit, he was one of the first fighters to come out and be very anti-UFC in terms of a business sense when he was going through what he was going through towards the end of his career and when he quit to do fucking podcasting and stand-up. He was actually one of the only really truly outspoken fighters who were talking about how badly it was run, how they fucked over the fighters, the Reebok deal, all that shit. But as soon as it started to get really tricky, because that's the thing that doesn't make sense too, like, if anything, now is the perfect time to be like the most disagreeable when it comes to Dana White and the UFC because you don't need them. You can just watch fight cards at home. You don't need to go to UFC events if you don't want to. Or you can go and just don't post on fucking social. Post it once you're finished. But it's not like you need the approval nowadays. You can be like an independent UFC MMA commentator and do very well for yourself. You don't need accreditations. You don't need to be able to be invited to press conferences and shit. You can do a job outside the UFC fairly easily. There's a lot of people who are like thriving with their content where they interview fighters and they have no relationship with the UFC. Ariel Helwani being a big example of it. He's completely banned and he does pretty well. So interviews all the big stars, still gets all the exclusive news. I don't know, I find that whole thing very, very odd, very, very strange.
Dana goes, well, we do it also your strength of your opponent. Like
Zell Huber was good, dude. He beat Zell Huber in his last fight and stopped him. That was
fight.
He should have got a bonus.
He should have got it for that one.
That's what he was talking about.
Well, but for this last fight,
right?
For his last fight, you know, he fought Jeremy Stevens. Great fight, great fighter.
I like how he's just ignoring what Rogan said. That guy wanted the bonus not for the last fight, but the one before that. That's why he was arguing about the last fight he had, because he really should have got the one fight bonus for the previous fight, but he didn't. Okay, just ignore it. It's like, whatever. Such an idiot.
But you know, compared to like the other guys on the card, that's why Dana's like, well, strength of
but he was
But that's not how fight bonuses work, though. Fight bonuses isn't about your strength of fucking schedule or your fucking record. It should be about what you did in that fucking fight. How explosive were you? How devastating were you? How much did you fucking, you know what I mean? How much did you swing for the fences? Did you get a crazy knockout, crazy submission? It's about the actual performance of the fight. It's not about your, it's the first time I've heard that fight bonuses are linked to what you did previously. No, they're not. If you have a spectacular win, a spectacular knockout, a spectacular TKO against somebody, a spectacular fucking submission, or you come back from the brink of losing to win right at the end, that's where fight bonuses should come into it. But I fundamentally don't agree with fight bonuses, because what fight bonuses does is tries to excuse the base salary they don't pay UFC fighters. That's the problem. They would rather not pay everyone a good base salary than just give people 50 grand, 100 grand extra per one person, one or two people, 100 grand to make up for the difference because they allegedly had the best fight of the night. That's a bullshit. The UFC just should pay people like, I've never understood why, and I've always said this before, right? If you're not going to pay the UFC fight, because maybe there's too many fighters on the roster, if you can't all pay them like a standard rate, like I don't know, let's say like 30 grand, 60 grand a year or something, right? If you're like on the UFC fucking athlete, you get that regardless if you're going to fight or not. Cool. If you can't legitimately afford to pay everybody on the roster that amount, because if imagine if you can't afford to pay everybody, you have to cut it off at a certain point. And if you cut it off at like the top 100, the other people are going to be mad too, because why isn't it 200? Why isn't it free? So I understand it. But I've always said, if you're not going to allow the fighters, if you're not going to pay the fighters a good base salary, why can't they just have their own sponsors? Because then all the fighters can dictate how much they make, and it would also help them make up the difference of what they're losing from not having the base salary. So what you would do is maybe you'd have one part of the section of the shorts, maybe the left sleeve, maybe the left, maybe a square on the buttocks or something. There'll be an area where brands could like stick their logo in, essentially, and each logo is a payment per month. That would be fucking great. But they don't let them do that. They have to wear the UFC kit. You're not allowed to have sponsors shown on your kit when you're fucking in the ring and shit. Whatever they pay you is what they fucking pay you. You can't fight anywhere else. It's a nonsense, really. It's a nonsense. It's a nonsense that they're fucking active UFC fighters are fucking door dashing. It's fucking crazy. And Brendan defends it because he wants to be friends with Dana White again. But before, he was all for calling it out. I think it's inexcusable that a multi-billion-dollar company doesn't pay its athletes like a livable wage. You know what I mean? Aside from what they make from winning fights or not. It's fucking stupid. Guy, you could win a fight where you were on the brink of losing. It goes right down to the wire, to the third round. You leave it with a face looking like Elephant Man, and then you only get fucking 10 grand for it, 5 grand. Pointless. Ah, shit. I went up a bit. Sorry.
Talking shit, pointing at you.
He's fun, man.
So fun.
He's one of my faves.
So fun. How about at the end of the fight, when I'm interviewing him, he's like, come walk with me. And he takes me over to Dana. He's, yo, Dana.
Yeah, he wants that bonus. They've never given him bonus.
He was just talking about how he's one of the most exciting fighters that's ever done it.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I'm like, everybody knows that. He's like, well, I didn't get my fucking bonus.
Yeah. But I'm kind of with Dana on the bonus. Dana goes, well, we do it also your strength of your opponent. Like
Zell Huber was good, dude. He beat Zell Huber in his last fight.
That's so stupid. Only getting a fight bonus because you're caliber of opponent. You're the guys that, so the UFC match fixes you, right? The UFC arranges your fights. Yes, you get to choose, but for the most part, you get to say yes or no. But for the most part, the UFC is the ones that set up the fight. So they set up the fight with you. You beat the person black and blue, right? You win every fucking round, 10-7, 10-7. But then you don't get a fight bonus because the person you fought wasn't that great. You're the one that set up the fight for me. What the fuck? I'm just beating who's in front of me, like any professional athlete should be. Or I mean, whatever you put in front of me, I'll get through them. That's how you should be. Oh no, that's not good enough. Like, fuck you.
Stopped him. That was
fight.
He should have got a bonus.
He should have got it for that one.
That's what he was talking about.
Well, but for this last fight,
right?
For his last fight, you know, he fought Jeremy Stevens. Great fight, great fighter. But you know, compared to like the other guys on the card, that's why Dana's like, well,
no, but he was complaining about not getting a bonus in his last fight. That's why he wanted a bonus in this fight. He was saying, because I even asked him, I go, you didn't get a bonus for the Zell Huber fight?
He got $25K, right? Because didn't they change the rules? If you get a finish, no matter what, you get. But he wanted the big boy bonus.
The big boy bonus. Yeah. Oh, I hate all of it. I hate people that have to ask for bonuses.
It's so horrible. It's disgusting, man. Seeing professional fighters begging for Dana to give them a bonus. It's so dehumanizing. Professional athletes begging for money on the fucking big stage of that. It's so fucking embarrassing. I hate all of it. I fucking hate it.
It's awkward.
Look, the money is there, right? We know the money's there. Like this is a $7 billion deal. I'm not a businessman. I'll say that right now. If I was running the UFC, the stockholders, they would fucking kick me out.
Yeah.
The shareholders would have me fired.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. You
run that
don't
bitch
want
like
me.
affliction. Yeah, you don't want that.
You don't want me running the UFC because I treat it like I was a communist.
I'm also, me too. I'm also a little more careful the way I talk about it too because I don't know their books. I don't know how to run a giant company like that.
Again, that's a cop out. That's a fucking cop out. He used to do that before. He used to talk about it without knowing anything about the books, openly and willingly. But because he's trying to get back into Dana White's good books, now it's like, oh, I don't know the books. I don't know how it is to operate the business and to manage it. Fuck off. Fuck off. You were critical of the UFC and their lack of good fighter pay when you didn't want to be Dana's friend, but now you want to be Dana's friend. All of a sudden, your understanding of why they don't pay fighters, they don't pay fighters enough. Come on, get out of here, man. This guy, get the fuck out of here.
I assume with $7.7 billion, I'm like, man, I feel like we could give some over here. But then if you talk to somebody in the know, they're like, oh, do you? Well, look at this, motherfucker. I'm like, oh, my bad.
Okay.
My bad.
Now, this is not a knock on Ari Emanuel, but it was reported that he made $67 million last year.
There we go. Mic drop. Mic drop. Mic fucking drop. Dana White gambles more in a night than what most UFC fighters make their entire career. He gambles that away. Dana White probably gets paid more than most UFC fighters, salary-wise, base salary. I know he does a good job and he's a hard worker, but come the fuck on, man. Rogan probably gets paid more than the fucking fighters. Come on, bro. They put their lives on the line. Come on. They entertain the fans. Come on, bro. Rogan and fucking DC and shit probably get paid way more than the fighters get paid. Like, honestly, I really don't get why they can't just give them a base salary of like 30 grand, 40 grand. And then whatever you want to make on top of it, you have to make for fighting. Not just, oh, you have to fight only. So that then means you have to fight more in the year to get more money. But then the more you fight, the more susceptible you are to losing. The more you lose, the more susceptible you are to getting cut.
He worked very hard.
I'm sure he did. But that was from the UFC, from
Correct.
TKO, right? That was his payout. And he's got a bunch of other things going on. He's a very successful guy.
But is he the reason they sold for $7.7 billion?
He's a big part of it.
Probably a big part,
100%.
right?
And
But the biggest part of it is the fighters. Without the fighters, he can't sell a business for $7.6 million, you fucking oaf. Yes, that guy did some good work in behind the scenes in the boardroom, but the fighters are the fucking lifeblood of the sport. The athletes are. If they don't exist, there is no UFC. Yes, the businessmen in the suits do a good job. No one's doubting that. But the fighters should be able to get a base fucking salary. Some medical fucking cover. Something along those lines. And then, of course, I'm all okay with eating what you kill, right? Or, yeah, eating what you kill. So you make a base salary of 30 grand. Still not enough, but it gives you a base salary to cover your general needs, let's say. And then whatever you want to make on top, you make from fighting. You know what I mean? That makes it better. So then if you know what I mean, instead of like you have no base whatsoever, zero. Plus you're having to beg for fucking bonuses, like fuck out of here.
And also, he took the big chance in purchasing it for $2 billion, which was a big deal. Mm-hmm. You know, the whole thing is like, this is why you're in business. I think fighting is different than any other business. And the reason why I say this, and you could speak to this more than anybody, you are putting your health on the line in a way that is not required in any other business other than maybe football and boxing and kickboxing. You're putting your health on the line in a way that's different than any other business. You are...
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even think that's important. I don't think that's important. I just think as a sport, like, it doesn't make any sense for a professional sport. Again, why are professional athletes working for DoorDash? If you're fighting in a league, in a division that's really low, fair enough. But why are professional athletes playing at the highest level, competing at the highest level, which is the UFC? Fair enough, it's the only organization around, but still, it's the highest level of mixed martial arts, and they have to work for DoorDash. That's unacceptable. That is truly unacceptable. It really is. It almost makes you. It almost leads you down to the question of, like, what's the point of being a professional athlete if you have to work for DoorDash? The whole reason why you're a professional athlete is because you're a fucking professional athlete. When you're an amateur, you're an amateur. That's when you're working for DoorDash. That's when you're fucking working in a bar. When you're an amateur coming up, or semi-professional. But when you turn full pro, it should come with full pro benefits, and that is a full-time salary that kind of looks after you and covers your basic necessities. So that if you imagine if you get injured and you can't fight, then what? You get injured and you can't fight. There's no pay, nothing.
Are the only thing that people are tuning in for. Without the fighters, there is no
exactly.
UFC. It doesn't exist.
Exactly. Correct.
It is the entire product. The thing you're selling is entirely fighters, and it's fighters that operate for a short window of their prime. They have 10 years or whatever they have, and when they get out, you know, we've all talked about guys that are mumbling now. You can't understand what the fuck they say. You see, like, tics that they have, and guys who have neurological problems, memory problems. It's real. So I don't think we should think of it like any other business, because the entire business model is these guys' bodies, and the consequence is their health, and it's for the rest of their life. And so if you're doing something that is generating a significant amount of money for a very short amount of time, I think you should get a lot of money for that if you're one of those people. The amount of money that is left over for the other people, the people that are making the money, that put the money in, they should still get a lot of money, which is why they did it in the first place. But I don't think the balance is correct.
Exactly.
Now,
I agree.
I am biased, right? Because, again, I'm not a businessman, but I have a deep empathy for people who put themselves in front.
By the way, it's nice to hear Rogan say this, because Rogan usually avoids talking about this sort of stuff, because I've always said, if this was a guy running, if Dana White was running a comedy club and he paid the fighters the way that he pays comedians, Rogan would have a big problem with it, you know? So it's good to hear him say what he's saying, that, no, if I was running it, everyone would get paid what they're worth and more. Do you know what I mean? I'd make sure they get all fucking compensated correctly. So it's good to hear him saying this, because he does usually try to avoid the fighter pay thing, because obviously when you talk about fighter pay, you have to talk about Dana White. And Dana White's very anti-fighter pay. He's very anti that. You know what I mean? He believes in, like, everyone. It's almost like he believes that everyone should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. But it's like, they are still doing that because they're obviously fighters and they're fucking grafting. It just means if they're professional athletes, they should be treated and compensated like professional athletes, you know? Not told, oh, if you play a game, that's when you get paid. Like, what the fuck is that? No other sport in the world works like that. Like, when you play, you get paid. It's like, no, there should be a base salary, and if I want to ball out more, I get paid more, you know? Like, that's how it should be. But yeah, what do I know?
Of harm and try to chase that glory for our entertainment, for the sport that we love. And I think they should be compensated more.
Yeah, I don't think you're. I mean, obviously we're biased because we love fighters, and I was a fighter. It's not even about being biased. It's just
fairness.
It's fairness. It's fairness in the marketplace. And
hold on, didn't you just say you agree with him and the fucking bonuses? Now all of a sudden, Rogan puts out a really good point and lays it out as to why he thinks fighter pay or paying them fairly is important, and all of a sudden he's like, yeah, fairness. Just a minute ago he was like, oh, I agree with Dana more. Now all of a sudden he's agreeing with Rogan. Fuck, you know, this guy, man, goes in any direction. Wherever the wind is blowing, wherever it's favorable, he's there.
Well, the thing is,
it's such a dicey thing. And I know people hate when I bring up fighter talk, and I get sick of.
People hate it when you bring fighter talk because you're usually talking out your fucking ass, and because you always change your mind based on if you want to be Dana White's friend or not. When he was comfortable not being Dana White's friend, he was brilliant to listen to because he'd fucking really lay it bare. But now you're concerned about being Rogan's friend again because you see the valuation of the company, you see the big moves he's making, the Logan thing, all that malarkey. Now he's changed his mind. Now he's changed his tune suddenly. It must be fun as a man to be a rich man. As a man, it must be really fun to be a rich man because you can really treat people like shit You can say the most, because Dana said some really hurtful things about Brendan during their little back and forth. But you can say some hurtful things about a man, and he can still be willing to suck you off because you have money and clout and power and shit. It actually might be. It actually might be really fucking fun to be a man with some level of power and influence, because men will forgive you for anything. Women will do that also, but it must feel awesome to see all these men like copping pleas for you on podcasts that you're not even on.
Of it too, because I don't know what you can really do, because
it's simple.
I go, is it though? Because here's the thing: people will go, okay, they made $7.7 billion. Here's their overhead. We don't know what's going on, but it's like, if the UFC is the only sports combat sports promotion to ever make money, ever.
Right.
Again, what's this? I don't know what this point is. It doesn't matter. Pay your fighters adequately. If they don't want to make money, that must mean they're making all the money. That must mean they must have a monopoly on all the fighters. If that's the case, pay them fairly. Pay them more. Simple as that.
Nobody else has ever done it better or made profit. So my thing is like, is this just what it is? And I know some people are like, you're such an idiot. They have this leftover money. I hear you, but all I'm saying is there's PFL, Bellator, Affliction, World Series. We can go through the list. One championship. None of them are around. Some are on like their last leg. No one's ever been able to sustain it. So I'm not saying we don't deserve more fucking money. All I'm saying is this just how it goes in the fight business? I don't know. I'm not a businessman. I know people are yelling right now, you're fucking it. I'm just saying,
I don't think
is fighting different where, hey man, that's just, it's not the NFL. It's not the NBA. It's not MLB. In order for us to continue this rise, this is what it is. It's 18% to the fighters.
That's not, no, I don't agree with that. They make too much money. There is enough money there to pay the fighters adequately. There's enough money. They just don't want to. They just prefer to keep the money for themselves and hoard it and split it equally amongst some of the executives. But there's more than enough money in the UFC bank and the UFC coffers to pay the fighters adequately. When it was coming up, when it was fucking DIY and shit, there's an argument to be had with, hey, please defer your payment. We're trying to grind. We're trying to make this happen. We spent the last of our money on a TV license. Please let us grow. Cool. But now you're a multi-billion-dollar company, you know, invested in several times and bought recently. There's no excuse. There really, truly is no fucking excuse not to pay the fight as well, or fairly.
I don't know, Joe.
Okay, well,
that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Good points. First of all, let's just give the UFC its flowers, because I love how the kids say that these days. Give flowers.
Yeah,
good saying.
Have your daughter started using buns yet?
Oh yeah, they use that.
Yeah, I just found my son's
bad.
like,
Buns is bad.
Yeah, I didn't know. I got a new truck.
Bad?
My son's like, that thing's buns. I'm like, is that good?
What's that?
Saying it's ass.
Yeah,
I know, but buns are always like cute buns.
Yeah, I know.
Lady,
Check out them
You guys got
buns.
ass. Fucking.
Yeah, we're
young
old.
Jamie.
Yeah, young Jamie. But what were you saying? Sorry.
The UFC is the greatest organization in combat sports history, period.
Not even
There's
close.
nothing even close. The product is so much better than any boxing promotion. And my friends that I've brought to the UFC that are boxing fans, like my friend Josh Dubin, he was like, the fucking production's incredible. He goes, it's so much more exciting than any boxing event. It's so much better. That is 100% true. They've also been a consolidated organization forever, right? I mean, it was a different owner. It was Bob Meyerowitz back in the day in 97 when I worked for them. But from 2021 on, so for the last 25 fucking years, it's been Zuffa, right? They sold Zuffa. Now Zuffa's sold to
TKO.
Ari Emanuel and
Yeah.
TKO, but the same people are running it, right? It's still Dana White. It's still all these people behind the scenes.
That's another conversation. With
Yeah, it's still Anik. It's still
That's good. Good. Well done, Brendan. Showing some fucking spine. That's another conversation. People have said, is Dana White holding back the UFC? Is his association? Is the way that he runs it? The way that he bullies fighters? The way that he's confrontational and rude and shit?
I'm loyal to default.
Yo, big up.
UFC does a lot of weird stuff for no reason. There was no need for a UFC atmosphere except just because they wanted to do it. So much money and production but no money for fighters.
Exactly.
Same deal with the White House.
Exactly.
Forced and unnecessary.
Exactly. Big up Asad Aziz. Exactly. Great fucking point. I totally forgot about that Sphere fight, innit? Was that Paddy? Was that Paddy? Was that Shane? Who fought in that one? I completely forgot about that one. Jesus Christ, that kind of came and went, innit? I completely forgot about that. Let's see. UFC the Sphere. When did that happen? Who fought there? I completely forgot. Yeah, it was Sean O'Malley, innit? I completely forgot about this, bro. I completely forgot about this card. God almighty. I completely forgot about this card, honestly. Kind of crazy. It kind of came and went, innit? Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're right.
Me and DC and Michael Bisping and all the other people that are doing commentary and you know, Dominic Cruz and Paul Felder and Larasenko, it's still the team's the same. The team behind the scenes is the same. It's so polished. There's never a problem. When I show up at the UFC, everything's so smooth. You go in, say hi to everybody. I show my badge to the fucking security people. I say hi. We sit down. Everything is smooth. We got a hit in 5 minutes. Okay, great. Everybody's there. The sound guy's on point. The camera,
machine.
Everything is on point.
Nobody
it's
does
so
it better.
easy.
Not even close.
And it's like the production in the truck is so fucking good. They always have the right angle. Giordano's always on the case when it comes to like getting the right angle for a submission or getting the right angle for
replays.
Like, if I ask for something, I got it right away. Like I'll push the button. You know, let me hear his corner.
Yeah.
And it's boom. They're right on it. They're the best.
High level.
They're the best.
The best.
And you notice that when you see other promotions. It's like the other promotions, the camera works on is good. It's like things are good. It's the machine is so good, and it's become like the NFL. Like, I know the XFL exists. I've never even fucking heard of a game. I've never even heard of a game.
Name one player.
No
Yeah.
one's
Or
even
team.
brought up a game that's going to happen.
Never.
I know it's a thing.
Never.
And the problem with casuals, that's the same with the PFL. Even though the PFL's fucking got really good fighters. There's really good fighters in the PFL.
Far cry from the UFC, but yeah.
Some of them are really good, man. That cat that just knocked out Renan Ferrar, the guy who's the heavyweight, that is Fedor's protege.
Oh, yeah, the Russian cat.
Bro.
He's good.
Anyway, you get the point. 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 Brendan trying way too hard to be up fucking Dana White's ass, which is not going to work really. He actually has more chance of getting back into Dana White's good books. Brendan has more chance of getting back into Dana White's good books if he just doubles down on the hate. If Brendan actually doubled down on the hate, if Brendan actually doubled down and actually started to call out Dana way more, he actually would get way more chance of being welcome back into his good books. I had to be, I mean, Dana might respect him more. I think so. Dana White would respect him way more if he actually doubled down on the hate. But this kind of like bipolar, one day I like you, one day I don't, one day I want to suck you off, one day I'm calling you out, one day I'm congratulatory to you, another day I'm accusing you of copying my shows, and people at the UFC watching what I do and copying it. That was a weird phase. One day I'm talking about how I could run it better than you. You can't do my job, I can do yours. Like, what? Like, one day I'm exposing the fact that you may or may not have had an affair with Ronda Rousey. Next minute I'm talking about how you're the greatest ever. Like, all over the place. All over the place.